And the director of the Marquette Law School poll, Charles Franklin, is back with us tonight. Thank you for being here. What were your takeaway moments from this?
Well, I think that you saw some of the fireworks we'd anticipated, but it didn't get out of control. I think the reporters asked some of the more aggressive questions of Trump, for example, rather than other candidates going after him. Though we did see Rand Paul jump in very early with some aggressive things. So there were some, especially Paul, a bit Huckabee, a little bit Chris Christie, who were more aggressive. Governor Walker was surprising in the sense that he seemed to compress his answers. He didn't use up his full time. And most of the questions he was asked about were questions he's been asked a lot of times. Why didn't you get to 250,000 jobs, for example? And so he was well prepared for those things. I actually think the question at the end about how he would prevent Russian aggression in the Baltic countries got dominated by his offhand comment about Clinton's email server, but he actually proposed putting U.S. troops on the Polish border and restoring missiles in the area. That's something that we may see some follow-up on in the next day or two.
Now, he did seem to go after Hillary Clinton a lot. He seemed to go back to that quite a bit. Maybe too much? I don't know. What do you think?
I think he mentioned her several times whenever the opportunity arose or where he could make an opportunity arise. I think as a percentage of everything he said, it probably was more. So that, I think he stayed close to his message, which you would have expected him to. He kept them a little shorter than he might have otherwise, and he worked in Clinton as a target as often as he could.
Now let's talk about those condensed answers, because that could have been a strategy. Do you think it worked, or do you think it worked against him? Because at one point he was like he had the least amount of airtime.
I was very surprised about a third of the way through to see that he was second lowest, I think, in airtime. I think he did not stand out from the crowd. In one sense, that's a good thing. You didn't make the wrong kind of news. You didn't make a mistake. But Jeb Bush, for example, frequently reiterated his record as governor of Florida, repeating positive things about that. Marco Rubio talked a bit about his record as well. So some of the other candidates may have gotten a broader message or core elements of their arguments out a little bit more, as most of them went up to that first beep before they stopped.
Yes, and I don't know if he helped or hurt himself, but he's kind of avoiding under the radar, no big gaffes, no big moments.
I think that's right, and I think we have to remember that this is just the first of a number of debates. This was the starting event of this. We're a long ways away from the ninth inning.
Real quick, I got to ask you about Trump, and him in this has real entertainment value to the masses. I mean, it really makes this thing appeal to a lot of viewers.
Exactly, and the first question, which you could see as aggressive, will you promise not to run as a third party? He stayed true to his Trump. Yeah. He said, nope, I'm not going to make that promise. If he had backed down, that would have been the real surprise. Instead, Trump was Trump.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, it was something else.
It was interesting, yeah. A lot of fireworks.
Good to see you. Many more
you.
to come. We'll see how this polls after this as well.